Hi, I'm James Andrews, and we're continuing our conversation with Dr. Tom Tobin, author, Reach Everyone, Teach Everyone. When we last spoke, Tom talked to us about a team approach to UDL. Today is our last moment with Dr. Tobin, and we'd like to know what are some next steps that people interested in developing UDL can take after they read the book.
Well, James, this is actually my favorite part of our conversation because there were a lot of questions among the ADEIL book study group on this topic. One of them was, have educational associations or conferences developed awards for UDL growth or progress? I'd love for you to check out the UDL IRN, Implementation and Research Network. There's also the Oak Foundation grants. CAST has many grants for people to apply for, and there's a lot of state-level grants and awards that deal with inclusive design and UDL more narrowly. There's also UDL certifications that instructors in higher education could take. There's learningdesigned.org, and that's sponsored by the UDL IRN and CAST. They have a professional certification that will show the rest of the world that you've got your UDL chops. And there's also IAAP, the International Association for Accessibility Professionals. This is more geared toward people in disability services offices, but they have a core concepts in accessibility certification. You sit for an exam and then you receive that certification, and it shows the rest of your campus that you have accessibility chops as well. So those are two very good groups of places to look. And I know that a number of your readers also wanted to pick my brain about where we're going for other projects and things like that. So I saw a few questions from members of the ADEIL group. One of them said, I appreciated the Copyright Ninja comic book. It helps make copyright law more understandable. And my research is also, just to address that question, every book I've ever written, all of the research that I'm engaged in, all the conversations that I have with other people who are doing great research, it's all based on problems and challenges that instructors, designers, leaders in higher education have when we talk about the quality of the education that our learners experience. So my first book was evaluating online teaching. That Copyright Ninja comic book was meant to help people with an easy to remember set of ideas. Mm-hmm. If you're kind of wondering what my approach is always to radically simplify things first. And I'm okay leaving out lots of the details if the very first step that we take is a productive one and makes us want to learn more, want to dive deeper into things like that. I also saw some questions from your colleagues in ADEIL. Somebody asked what authors I'm reading. I just finished Twitter and Tear Gas by Zeynep Tufekci. She is a journalist talking about how different kinds of multimedia that we didn't used to have, things like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, are really helping people to engage with their governments, engage with their social colleagues, and protest, push back, and effect changes. I also just finished The River of Consciousness by the late Oliver Sacks. I'm a big fan of his neurological work and his narratives. And strangely enough, I think this book is next on your list. I just finished How Humans Learn from Josh Euler. Fantastic read, and Josh is also a really open and friendly person. If you follow him on Twitter or you send him an email and want to have a 20-minute conversation with him, he's open to that as well. And a couple other things I'm looking forward to. There's some forthcoming books. Derek Bruff, he is a wonderful Center for Teaching and Learning person, and his new book is called Intentional Tech. That's going to come out in the fall of 2019. And Jessamine Newhouse is also coming out with a book called Geeky Pedagogy that I can't wait to read as well. And a couple other questions on this same head. Somebody asked, do you have favorite writers in the field of distance education? Well, I'm actually a huge fan of the ungrading movement. So if you look for the hashtag ungrading on Twitter, you'll find lots of links, resources, and people that help us to advocate for actually grading fewer things and making sure that assessment allows students opportunities to fail at stuff, to try things out without the fear that they're going to somehow get a lower number, and that's going to have an impact on how they are assessed at the end of our interactions with them. And I love academic Twitter generally. So you can follow folks like Josh Euler, Kevin Gannon, Michelle Miller from Northern Arizona University, Tressie Cottom, and Robin DeRosa. Lots of folks who are out there sharing their latest research even before their books come out, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And also, Jim Lang is one of the most humane and accessible writers. His books like On Course, Cheating Lessons, Small Teaching. If you haven't read any Jim Lang, pick him up. He's a great person to talk about the human side of teaching interactions. And I know he's writing one about engaging with time crunch learners. So I don't know when that's coming out, but I'm really looking forward to it. And somebody asked what my next project is. And this one is just starting up. And your ADEIL book study folks are going to get a scoop, because I haven't actually said this publicly to anybody yet. My next book is going to be called The Academic Presenter's Guidebook. How many times have we sat in conference presentations where somebody stood in front of a list of bullet points and read them off the screen to us? So I would love to put together a very short guide on how to do it right. And so that's what my next big research project is going to be. And James, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share some of this with you and with your colleagues at ADEIL, and I'll look forward to any further conversations. I know that you're going to be putting my contact information into our sessions, and I'd love to hear from folks in ADEIL if you'd like to continue the conversation. So thank you.
We'll do so, and thank you, Tom. It really has been a pleasure talking to you over the series. And we look forward to hearing more and seeing how and when other projects, research, books come out. Thank you so much. Tom mentioned very quickly that our next read is How Humans Learn by Joshua Euler. He is also the keynote speaker for the 27th Annual ADEIL Conference, to be held, I believe, in the fall at the University of Mississippi. So please continue to look at our LinkedIn blog, and we'll provide more up-to-date information as we go along. Oh, I see it's right here. Thank you very much.